Welcome to the Assessment 101 Parent Workshop. During this evening's workshop, we're going to discuss understanding state and local assessments and the proficiency levels students are expected to master, how parents can support student achievement, preparing for standardized testing, and interpreting assessment results. Our meeting facilitators are myself. I am the GHS Parent Liaison, Ms. Pamela Davis, our GHS Assistant Principal of Instruction, Ms. Marguerite Conger, our GHS ESOL teacher, and Mrs. Constance Sweet, our GHS Parent Representative. At this time, Ms. Conger will share information with us about how ESOL parents can prepare their students for assessment, how the assessments, what assessments the ESOL students take, and how the data is used. And following her presentation, Ms. Sweet will share how parents can prepare their students for assessments and tips.
Hi, I'm Ms. Conger, the ESOL teacher at Griffin High School. And ESOL stands for English to Speakers of Other Languages. So our English language learners take the Access for ELL's assessment each year. It is administered to measure English language proficiency. The test assesses proficiency in the 4 language domains: reading, listening, speaking, and writing. We use the information gathered from this assessment to determine whether or not the students continue to need ESOL services. How we prepare students for the test. Students should have conversations about their language development and how they can perform their best on the test. Students do not need to study for the test. They just need to focus on demonstrating their English language abilities. In class, students are provided with multiple practice opportunities prior to the test administration so that they are familiar with what the test looks like, the testing platform, and what kinds of questions will be on the test.
Thank you, Ms. Conger. Ms. Sweet, will you share with parents some things that they can do to help their students prepare for assessments and possibly some tips that you actually use yourself?
Yes, ma'am. I know for me, I usually reach out to my kids' teachers and I ask like what specifics are they going to be covering, and I usually ask for like study guides and stuff like that. But most of the times what they're giving me is for the kids to do the study island. They've used Khan Academy. I think those are the 2 they pretty much use, is Khan Academy and Study Island, just to, get them familiarized with stuff that they done covered, just so it'll be a refresher when they start doing the actual testing. But those are the 2 things that I usually do. I reach out to the teachers in those 2 websites that we usually use, is Study Island and Khan Academy.
Thank you. At this time, Ms. Davis will discuss our understanding state and local assessment. She'll talk about the different state assessments, the alternative assessments, and local assessments.
Okay, we'll start off with, and good afternoon again. We'll start with our state assessments, and we'll start with our Georgia Milestone, which we call end of course for high school. And we usually the acronym EOCs. And the purpose of the Georgia Milestones is to measure how well students have learned the knowledge and skills outlined in the state adopted content standards in English, math, science, and social studies. Any student who takes these courses, they are required to take the EOCs. All students will have to test in order to be able to graduate from high school upon completion of the course. Prior to this year, the state had 8 assessments that students within their 4 years were required to take in order to be eligible to graduate from a Georgia public high school. This year, the state has whittled that down to 4 courses. And those 4 courses, the one in mathematics now is Algebra 1. Previously, it was Algebra 1 in geometry, but now the students are required to take the assessment in Algebra 1. For social studies, we had two. It was U.S. history and economics. And now the students will only take the U.S. history course on completion of the EOC. In science, we had two, biology and physical science. Now the students will only take biology. And for English language arts, students take 9th grade in American Lit, and now they only will take American Lit and Comp. So now we only have 4 EOC courses that the students are required to take in order to graduate from accredited Georgia high school. They're required to take the assessment, not necessarily pass the assessment, but they have to pass the course in order to graduate. Previously, the EOC counted, it does count as their final exam. The course, the final exam counted 20% of their grade. That counted as their final exam. For this year, because we are going through COVID, the state has made an adjustment. The state right now has decided any student who takes those courses, the 4 courses, for their final exam, the percentage has been changed from 20% to 0.01%. So even if they took the exam, it really would not affect them as much as it was 20%. So that has been the adjustment for this year. There are 4 areas when students take the end of course assessment. They are identified either as a beginning learner. When they take the assessment and their scores come back and they are a beginning learner, it means that they did not yet demonstrate proficiency of the knowledge and skills in that particular content area. And their score, when it came back, would range between 0 and 67. If your scores came back and they were in developing, as a developing learner, it would demonstrate partial proficiency in the knowledge and skills of that particular content. And their score would range between 68 and 79. To be a proficient learner, it means that you demonstrated proficiency in the knowledge and skills of the content that was taught, and that their score would range between 80 and 91. And to be a distinguished learner, you demonstrated advanced proficiency in that content area, and your scores would range between 92 and 92 to 100 in that area. Does anyone have any questions at this time in reference to end of course EOCs?
I have a question, Ms. Davis.
Yes.
So because they made the changes due to COVID, will this be for next year too, or will they revisit it and possibly make changes?
I think they're they're constantly revisiting all the assessments, state assessments.
Mm-hmm.
They are revisiting as we speak. As I talk along, I will tell you some of the things that are occurring with some of the other assessments that are national assessments. I know I said I'll talk about state, but we do have some that are national assessments. I can share with you with the EOCs last year at the spring, because of COVID, the scores, the state decided not to apply that for those students who were graduating. As I said, in order to graduate from an accredited Georgia public high school, you have to take those particular courses, not necessarily pass the EOC, but pass the course. And because of COVID hit, the state did not acknowledge the EOC score, so the students could graduate. Right now, the state has not made any changes to that. We just recently finished giving the assessments to our students for fall. Not all students were able to take that assessment at that time. And so we're still waiting to see if we can give those students who still need to take it for the fall. So the state is constantly talking about what will occur, what will happen moving forward with that. The next state assessment is the GAA, and it's designed to ensure that students with significant cognitive disabilities are provided access to the state academic content standards. It's given the opportunity to demonstrate achievement of knowledge as well. This assessment provides some meaningful information about classroom and instruction and help identify students' areas of strength and improvement through standardized testing. For high school, 11th grade are assessed with the GAA, and they are assessed in English, language, arts, and mathematics. Those are the two areas. Last year was the first year that GAA was online. So last year was the first year that the students start to take their assessments online in GAA. National tests that we have, the PSAT. I'm sorry, Miss Elam, go back to that slide because it was one that I missed. I'm sorry about that. One of the assessments that I missed, and it is, I see that she has MAP, and MAP is a local assessment, and it is used as our universal screener for the district. Griffin-Spalding district, we use MAP as a universal screener, and we assess students in mathematics as well as reading to identify students who may have deficits. And the data is used to identify where we should place students if they may need more support. We do have some support classes. One of the examples, we have algebra support that we can put the students in from the measurements of the universal screener. We also have what we call is our MTSS. That's that multi-tiered support. And so the students that are identified that are struggling, we make sure that they have the support and help that they need. Even if it's not in algebra support, it may be in reading. And so that's the reason why we also created our IF, instructional focus classes, so that we can work in smaller groups with students who we know struggle in math and reading, mathematics and reading. Also, our RCD, those are pre and post assessments. RCD stands for rigorous curriculum design. What that simply means is for all the content that are taught at the high school level, we have pre and post assessments, meaning for each unit, the students are tested, given a pre-assessment. It lets the teacher know what standards they understand and what standards they may have struggles in. So it helps the teacher create the lesson plans from that. It may be a particular standard that all the students did well on. That means that the teacher may not have to spend a lot of time on that particular standard. But looking at the assessment after students test, it may be that the majority of the class struggled in a particular area. And so that the teacher plan to instruct in areas that is most needed. Okay, let's go to one of the national tests. I see I covered GMAS, but PSAT. PSAT is the preliminary SE. It is given to identify students that may qualify for national merit scholarships. And it also helps students know where they are in the standings when they are preparing to take SAT and ACT. So it kind of prepares and lets you know where you are in the areas of what you need to work on to prepare for SAT and ACT, and also qualifies you for that national merit scholarships. With PSAT for the high schools, we administer this to all of our 10th grade students. It is free for 10th grade students. If we have a student that, say for whatever reason, did not take the PSAT in the 10th grade, we do offer it to our 11th grade students and 9th grade students. But the 11th grade and 9th grade students do have to pay to take the PSAT if they choose. And some are middle school 8th graders. They do take this test as well because they want to qualify for the national merit scholarships that are out there. Any questions so far? Okay,
I have a question about the PSAT. Sorry.
Yes. Go ahead.
I know they were supposed to do it for January the 26th.
Yes.
Was it any word on if they were going to reschedule it? Because I know my daughter was going to take it because she's in 10th grade this year.
Okay, the decision, and as I said, I will go over, if I know anything about, what they're doing with each test. And we did have a meeting, and the decision has been made that for PSAT for this year, 10th graders, we will not test any 10th graders this year. We will test the 11th grade students who have paid to take the assessment because it's such a small number. And what has been discussed, most likely the 10th grade, we usually pay for the 10th grade. They don't have to pay. And so we're looking at seeing how can we make that adjustment for our 10th graders moving forward for the following year for them. So they will not, 10th grade will not test at this time, only 11th grade who have paid. That decision was made. It was a hard decision because it's very difficult when you have, at Griffin High School, we have 395 some odd 10th graders. And that means you have to afford that opportunity for all 10th graders. And because we're not in school and the safety of everybody, that was the decision made.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I just wanted to be sure because she was trying to stay on top of all of this stuff.
Yes. And I really hate that, COVID has really changed a lot of things that we are doing or trying to do for the success of the students as far as the assessments that are given or the assessments that we're trying to give. But at this point in time, yes, that PSAT, we will only give it to the 11th grade students who have paid to take the assessment because it's such a small number.
Okay.
With PSAT, when you give the PSAT, it's different than EOCs because you can administer EOCs in the morning and afternoon. With PSAT, because it is a national test, every student has to start. If at our school, all students who are testing have to start at the same time. And if you do staggered time with PSAT, the next group has to start before they finish whoever started the first assessment. The others have to start before they finish, or you can be disqualified. And so you have to be very careful with PSAT. Two national tests is the ACT and the SAT, and it's used for college admission. And for the ACT, ACT and SAT are both standardized tests. In the ACT, there are 4 academic skill areas that they focus on. It's English, mathematics, reading, and the scientific reasoning. And also, it's optional for the writing portion of that test. But now a lot of the colleges are not even looking at the writing. Some still do, but most kids opt not to do the writing, but it is there. It is optional. And the SAT is that Scholastic Aptitude Test. It is also a standardized test. and it covers the basic critical reading, math, and writing skills. There are three main sections of the SAT: critical reading, math, and writing skills. Also, we have the AP. AP, that's the advanced placement. And it is created by college boards, which offer college level curriculum and examinations to high school students. And so for Griffin High School, giving you an example, we have AP Environmental Science. At one point we had AP Calculus. We do have AP Biology. And these are college courses, and the students can receive credit for college for those courses. Now, at the end of the course, they have to take the assessment, and that has changed quite a bit. They will still be able to take their AP course because it is given online. A lot has changed for AP. When the students enter into an AP course, they have to register online with their teachers to say, yes, I will take the AP exam in the end, or no, I will not. And so that will be administered online. So they will still continue to take the AP exam. In order to get credit for the AP exam, which is the advanced placement, you have to have a score of 3 or higher. The highest that you can receive is a 5 on the AP exam. One other exam that I didn't talk about, but it's not an exam. It goes along with RCD, and we use what is called Mastery Connect, and that's tied to RCD. Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Okay, I want to just share some information with you about some age-specific resources for parents that they can use to help their students. For math, we're using Delta Math, and as Ms. Sweet shared, Khan Academy, USA Test Prep, and Study Island. These are all resources. They don't cost anything, and the school's also using these resources. So students often, they should know how to access them, and they should know how to utilize them to get information for the specific subject that they're actually studying. You as a parent have the ability to monitor your students' progress by utilizing the Infinite Campus Parent Portal. If you do not have your parent portal set up and you need assistance, you can reach out to to myself or the school media specialist, Ms. Mattia Edwards, and we'd be more than happy to assist you with getting your parent portal set up. In the parent portal, you're able to see their grades in real time. You can see their assessment information. You can also see their attendance. You can see your students' transcripts. And if it's set up on your phone, it's no different than a basic text message. When the students or the teachers are posting grades, you will get a notification letting you know when grades have been posted. If you all would, Ms. Conger or Ms. Davis, can you all discuss the English language standards, WITA, meeting the challenging academic standards for students, and then also achieving a high level of well-rounded education for our EL students as well?
Yes. So the English language development standards are the 5 standards that we use within the ESOL program to guide our English language instruction. And there are 5 language-based standards: social instructional language, language of science, the language of social studies, the language of language arts, and the language of mathematics. And the English language program and the ESOL program is under WITA. Georgia is a WITA state. I think 36 states in the United States are part of the WITA consortium. And so all of our standards align with the WIDA consortium. So if a student from our state moves to another WIDA state, they're able to use their data, test scores, and the standards align. So that kind of creates some continuity when you have students who do move in and out of different states. And so the ESOL program provides language support to students who need language support due to speaking another language at home or with friends. And so we provide support. We use the WIDA, the language standards that I just talked about. We also use the Georgia standards that teachers are using in their classrooms, so that students are able to get specific support, vocabulary support, and just a smaller group instruction while still working on the standards that they are expected to master in all of the other classes. So those are some of the ways the ESOL program supports our English language learner students.
I'm going to share with you some websites and resources that can be used when students are preparing for standardized tests. In these websites, they have test-taking tips for both students and parents. And so I just want to share these resources with you. Before you leave our meeting, I would ask that each person puts their email address in the chat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a folder with you that has additional resources from today's meeting. But I just wanted to make sure that I go over some of these sites with you. So I know this is kind of small, but they have multiple websites that you can use when you're when you're preparing for the milestone assessments. And so if you're clicking on that particular website, it will give you information about all the tests that the students are going to take, as well as the study guides for parents and for students. There's also a link for the Georgia Alternative Assessment, for NAEP, for the access test for our EL students, as well as I gave you the actual website where you can go and you can find the actual end of course study guides and resource guides. There's some Lexile information for parents, as well as ACT, the AP exam, the PSAT, and the SAT information for parents and for students. So these are some websites that you can actually use. And again, when I share that folder of resources with you, I will make sure that I include these websites for you to view. Just to speak about our school parent compact and how we can use it, the school goals to help students do well on their local assessments and also on their alternative assessments. When we're utilizing our school parent compact, it also talks about the responsibilities that our teachers, our parents, and our students share. And in these responsibilities, it's all about helping our students to show mastery when it comes to the state standards. And so we talk about things that we can actually do and some things that parents can do at home as well as the students. Also, looking at those specific goals, we have 3 goals, and in those 3 goals, it is imperative that we do our best to help our students improve their mastery in the areas of ELA and mathematics, as well as making sure that in the core content areas that they are able to show mastery just in general. And so that's how we're going to use our school parent compact goals that lends itself to improving our CCRPI as well as the content mastery. So the content mastery comes into play when we're looking at our overall CCRPI score for the school. Ms. Davis, if you can discuss with our parents how to interpret the results and how to read the score report. And if you're needing additional information about anything having to do with assessments, whether they're state, local, or alternative, you can also reach back out to Ms. Davis, and I've included her email address so that you can contact her for further information.
Okay, when you look at your students' score report when it comes back, as I said, I talked to you about the different levels of beginning learners, developing learners, proficient learners, and distinguished learners. And that is the most important thing that you want to look at to see how successful or how well did your child master that content. And so if it comes back that your child is a beginning learner, they did not yet demonstrate proficiency in that knowledge and skills and content. As you can see, when you look at that sheet, the number one thing that we look at instead of the scale score, because it is a range of how well the kid scored with other kids in that particular content area. We usually look at the scores. So the scale score is converted into a grade. And as I said, the beginning learners, when you look at it, you know that they did not yet demonstrate the proficiency in that content. And for that developing learner, they demonstrated partial understanding of the content that was taught for that particular course. And if it comes back and it says they are proficient, meaning they could demonstrate proficiency in knowledge and skills of that content that was taught for the entire semester, the entire year for that student. In that distinguished learner, it was an advanced proficiency in the knowledge and skills. They just mastered it. They had it. And so they are distinguished learners.
Are there any questions about any of the information that has been shared thus far? If you do have any questions, you can turn your microphone on and ask those questions, or you can put your questions in the chat, whichever is easiest for you. If you don't have questions, and if you're thinking of any, I'm going to share the feedback form with you, and I'm going to ask that you provide some feedback based upon the information that we've shared with you. Give me 1 second. I'm going to put it in the chat for you. And that's the link to the feedback form. Also, if you joined us late, please make sure that you put your email address in the chat so that I'm able to share additional resources with you from today's meeting. I'm going to be sharing websites and some other handouts with you from today's meeting, but I'm going to send them directly to you via your email so that you will have them and you can refer back to them at any time. Again, if you have questions, you can put your questions either in the chat or you can turn your microphone on and ask any questions that you have. Also, if you joined us late, I'm going to also post the sign-in sheet again in the chat. I need everybody to make sure that you sign in so that we can have an accurate account of who has participated with us today. Once you complete your feedback form, if you would like to, please put done in the chat and we'll know that everybody has completed it. Thank you, Ms. Gaston. Thank you, Ms. Sweet. If you don't have questions, once you've completed your feedback form, make sure that your email address is in the chat. Then you're able to log out. And we just want to say thank you for your participation in today's parent workshop. If you have any questions for myself, I'm the graduation coach and parent liaison, and so you can reach me via my email, which I'll share in the chat as well. Thank you, Ms. Bates. If you don't have any questions, this concludes our meeting, and I would just like to again say thank you for participating with us.